Rhy, thanks for coming in today, mate, to talk about our national draft picks. Thanks for coming in.
No worries. Looking forward to it.
Now, mate, the first thing I want to ask you, because I do see it debated a lot on our fan forums, is when you go to the draft, the philosophy, is it the best player available, or have you got to take into account the needs that you have on your list?
Yeah, it's a good question, and there's no sort of right or wrong answer. I think you take everything into consideration. Obviously, we're in a blessed position taking the 8 players that we did in last year's draft, so we're able to sort of weigh up what our list needed a little bit more, and there was players that we sort of moved towards the top of that list a little bit more because of that. So Sam Grill is one that, you know, we needed speed, run, rebound. He gives that real sort of point of difference with that. So he's a player that we watched with that in mind throughout the course of the year, and on the back of his performances, he's one that we were really keen to bring in. So when it came to draft night, he was up the top of our board, and we were really lucky to be able to take him.
So there was a bit of a need for speed, clearly?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. I know Blair and I walked away from last year's draft. Like, we loved the crop that we had, but we sort of looked at each other and said it's time to bring in some speed and some outside runs. So we felt like we really got that nucleus and spine settled and sorted with Noah Bolter, Josh Gibcus, Ben Miller's playing really well, Campbell Gray we think can come on. Our key backs are going really well. We picked up the 3 key forwards in last year's draft, plus Liam Fawcett, who I think can play some really good footy for us. And then we picked the 2 big strong inside mids last year. We did have some positional needs that we were keen to address with some outside run and speed. So it was a fun, exciting year watching guys that can run and speed and explode, and we're happy to bring those guys in.
Right, speak to the amount of work that goes into these guys, because you do get your boulders late in the year, guys that impress late, but you're following these guys for the whole season. So just tell us about the philosophy behind, someone that looks good late as opposed to someone you've been tracking for 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, Sullivan Roby's the one that came with a real rush, and as a recruiter, gives you a bit of anxiety because they come on, there's limited data on them. They get the publicity too. They get the publicity. So we just try and do as much work as we can in that short space of time. And Ollie Grant in particular, he's really good with the vision. He went back and tracked all his Rowville vision and sort of live coded all of his games. So we got local games plus obviously all of his Eastern Coats games. We met with him a couple of times. We got his GPS, but it's probably not the same as tracking someone like a Sam Cumming who's been in the talent pathway for 3 years. So you just got to do as much work as you can on the limited exposure that they've got, and then just judge them accordingly. So, but it adds spice to the draft. Like, you get to halfway through the year, you have your weekly meeting, you're talking about the same players. So when players pop up, Oscar Taylor's probably another one that sort of jumped, came from outside of the Vic Metro program, and he's got real speed and run. So, those guys, it's exciting because you get to work on a new player a little bit. Before
we go into each individual that we have drafted, did you interview all of the players that were picked, or was it a surprise for one of these guys?
No, we interviewed all of them. We probably did, I think, about 65 home interviews throughout the course of the year. So, like, if it's WA, I'll go over there and meet with Sam Cousins and do that. If it's Adelaide, Sammy and I'll go over. If it's Vic, it'll be Ollie Grant and I. And Blair comes to quite a few as well. So, it's good. You go to all the houses, and it actually makes draft night fun because not just the players that we pick, but the players we don't pick, you've built relationships with, you've met with, their families. So you get excited to see them get opportunities as well.
I was reading about Craig Bellamy and the work he puts in when he drafts players to the Melbourne Storm or recruits players, and character's a big thing for him. Is that pretty important too for us? Yeah,
enormous. Yeah, we speak about that a lot, and it impacts our ratings pretty significantly. So with our ratings, it takes into account everything, and character's certainly one of the traits that we have the highest. And that's probably the thing we walked away most pleasing from this year, is we can go to sleep at night and rest the head on the pillow knowing we've got 4 really strong characters, guys that will come over and do all the work and connect with the boys. So, it's really high on our priority list.
Hey, Rhy, let's go back to the trade period. And it probably was a little bit of came out of nowhere with Patrick Rechko. Everyone went, geez, where's this guy come from? Had a year down at Geelong, but clearly you rated him before last year's draft and tracked him this year. Good form in the VFL.
Yeah, correct. And he was probably a really high talent at 16 and did his ACL that year in 2022. So I remember watching 23. He was a bottom major. He came back and had some really strong form for Oakley, and that was a side we were watching closely with some of their players. And then his top age year last year was strong. He played for Vic Metro. He played wing. He used to run these 2K time trials in his warm-up before the game, so all the recruiters are sitting on the deck chair and there's
smart,
Paddy.
Very smart.
And he's just a bit manic, like he loves his running. And
what's he do? What's his 2K time?
He's a six flat guy. So we had our Bronco test yesterday. He won it, which is a really strong start to his pre-season. So he went to Geelong, but we tracked him, and Geelong are pretty strong, and he fell off their list. But we jumped on that pretty quickly. I think he got delisted on the Wednesday, and he was in meeting with Blair and I on the Friday. So we're quick to act on that one. We clearly needed some run and some outside running power, and he fitted that need well for us.
And he's a Tigers man.
He is, he loves it. The Oakley Chargers, through their connection with us, have their pre-season sort of one-day camp in here, and I did a little talk to them, and he came up and asked me about 15 questions at the end, and I had to actually usher him away and onto the track. He loves Richmond, so it adds a little bit.
I love that, I think it does.
Yeah, and he's passionate about the direction we're heading, so he interviewed super well after missing out on Geelong. He was just positive, and what can I do next? So we were quick to strike on trade night.
And he's mates with Jasper Alger.
He is, they went to school together. And Tom Burton, who we've just brought on as an SSP, they all went to school together. So he also went to school with Noah Uze. So there's a bit of a connection there with Uze. And he's a good kid, Paddy. Like, he got a really high study score. I don't know if he'd be too happy telling everyone that, but he's really well sorted off the field. He's a professional, so he was an easy one for us to bring in.
So pick 7, we take Sam Cumming, the Crow Eater from South Australia. I believe he played senior footy at Wentworth at the age of 14.
Yeah, he did. And we knew a little bit about it, but it probably wasn't until we went to his house. Like, Sammy is so humble.
Yeah.
And all our interviews with him were just with him. And then we were able to get a little bit more out of Mum and Dad. So Dad played 350 games for Wentworth, was a bit of a club legend.
Yeah.
Mum, the senior best and fairest netball, is named after her. And then we were able to get out of them that his debut was at 14. He actually came third in the senior best and fairest at the age of 14, which is a pretty good effort. And I think he was second best on ground in the grand final. So it shows that he's willing to get in and play against men and put his head over the ball. And that held him in good stead. He went and played seniors for North Adelaide at the end of this year and played some super footy. I think his second last game before hurting his shoulder, he had 21 and kicked 3 and looked really ready.
At senior level,
senior sample level. So he looked ready to sort of finish off the year really strong, and just had a little shoulder injury which finished him off. So that gave us really good confidence to pounce on him. So
tough, hard, but can get it on the outside as well, is that?
Yeah, he's got really good speed in his game. Like, he tests well for speed, but you really do see it as well, the ability to explode out. So, but he's tough, combative, aggressive, and it just gives us a little bit of point of difference, I think. And some of his edits, it's like, look after yourself, Sammy. Probably need to teach him when to do that, but it's a good trait to have, so...
Certainly is.
Yep. Now,
we know a bit about Sam Grill because we saw him at VFL level for the Tigers this year. Played 2 or 3 games?
2 games, yeah.
Yeah, and played really well. So we know what we're getting there, good outside speed, and clearly we just talked about that. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, and he takes the game on and forward as well, which we love. Like, some kids test well for speed, but he really shows it in his game. I think the combination of the lateral step and the speed, he can explode forward and get out, and he changes the whole way that you can move your ball when he's playing well. So we saw that with Oakley, his ability to win the ball in the back half and explode and get through and challenge a defence. He adds a real point of difference, and he's an energetic kid.
Yeah.
The VFL boys had sort of had enough of him after 2 weeks. Like, he was asking questions, he was putting his hand up in the team meeting. Him and Josh Gibcus really hit it off. I think Gibbo saw the potential in him and how much he wanted it. So, we were really excited to bring him in, and he'll leave no stone unturned. Like, he loves football more than any kid I've ever met. So.
And with Camden McIntosh retiring, there's a position there up for grabs on a wing. Is that something he could play?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and Rechko as well. I think that position probably is available. We've got a lot of guys that probably prefer to play inside, whereas they're genuine sort of outside the square players. So, we're thinking back or wing. Either way, he'll sort of run and rebound and create. So it's exciting to see where the coaches slot him in.
Now, Zane Piker, that's right, not Puka, Piker, pick 31, forward, mid. You see him as a goal kicker?
Yeah, I do.
He's only 17 too.
He is, and the team's liked him all year, really. So we went over, it was SA Super Round this year. It was 41 degrees. over in Adelaide, and they had to shift the games all around. The whole team went over there because you get to see every team, and he caught the eye early. He tested 285 for speed, which is top end, and then straight away, sort of seeing him, he played with that. So he missed out on the 16s and 17s with SA throughout the underage stuff, and then he really came on, probably because he is a bit of a late developer. Yeah. He's young for his age. We see real upside and growth for him. So sort of that high forward that can push into the midfield. His footy IQ is really good, like his little game within a game stuff. He sees the numbers, and his kicking's really nice. So yeah, he's got a little bit of work to do on his running, and he knows that. But his explosive stuff and his footy IQ and his kicking, we think he might take a little bit of time over the pre-season, but we really think he's got some upside and someone that can add some real value in the front end.
And he's cousins with Sam Cumming.
He is, yeah. I don't even know if Sam Cumming knew that when we met with him. They're pretty distant, but the Piker family were sort of quick to tell us that at the interview. Yeah. So it just was coincidentally the way it worked out, but it's nice, and they're going to move in together.
Oh, great.
In January in St Kilda in a host family house. So it just it makes them really comfortable coming over to Melbourne, knowing they've got each other, and they'll form a good connection, those boys. And his dad was a Mad Tigers supporter, is that right? Yeah, mad. That's great. We actually... They would have been very happy. Yeah, they were. And shout out to Zane's manager, who was keen to get him to Tigerland. Like, he helped a lot in terms of where he might go, and the club's interested. He was keen to see him get to Richmond as well. Simon at the home interview was a fair bit of Tiger talk, and had to keep trying to bring it back to Zane and the questions we needed to ask. It was just a really nice feel about it. And Simon played a lot of country footy, played a little bit in the sample as well. Yeah. So, big footy family, and I think they're pumped for him to come over and play for us. Yeah, they would be. Now, I get nightmares saying this name, Noah Roberts-Thomson, because I played on his cousin Lewis, the Sydney Swans player, tailed me up a few times. So Noah, he's another mid-forward, pick 54. Yep, he was. And he stood out for Sturt this year, so played almost exclusively mid for Sturt, but then went and played forward for the SA under-18s team. So just his versatility there. That same round one of the Sample 18s, he kicked 3 goals in about 5 minutes, just ground ball, sort of speed through the ball. He's got real speed and power. So he's got good goal sense, natural goal kicker. Yeah, kicks sort of a goal a game as a mid. Yeah. We liked him. We like his speed and power. He's aggressive. He's just a competitor. I went over to watch the under-18 grand final at Adelaide Oval. They were winning by about 50 or 60 points, and there was a sort of big ball in the last 2 minutes, and he powered over from 60-metre run to put on a bump and give the hands, and the team kicked the goal. But it's what you like to see, someone who plays to the final siren. He's really switched on off the field as well, so he's another one that's aiming for a really high end to score. He's going to study physio, really strong references. Like, he'd be playing in the Nationals and then studying on the way home and going to sleep, up early for school the next day. So his work ethic's really strong. So we think that'll hold him in good stead. Yeah, love that, Rhy. Now, you traded up a pick to get him with the Gold Coast. So clearly, were you worried someone else was going to grab him there? Just sitting there a little bit anxious. Like, there was a bit of time between pick 31 and our pick, and he's probably a name that we had towards the top of the board. Yeah. And then there was sort of 6 or 7 clubs in between us and the pick, and we were keen to strike. We only had to give up the future 5th, which I think is the first time anyone's ever traded the future 5th. So a little bit of Hartley magic there. Worked in with the Gold Coast, and it just enabled us to get our man and get in and out of the night. So, he's someone that we were keen to bring in. And again, that need for speed, power, aggression, he was a player that we were keen to bring in. One out of a bit of left field here. You had a crack at the Brisbane and Gold Coast Academy players. On the night, you know what's going to happen pretty much, though. Pretty much, yeah. And Dylan Patterson, we rated really highly. We talk about what we need. We think he's going to be a pretty special player. So put a bit of work into Dill throughout the course of the year, but obviously they have first access to him. And Dan Annabelle's quality, just a consistent mid. So, we pretty much knew they were going to match it, but you can't help but have a crack anyway. No, exactly. Now, we've got a couple of train-ons, Tom Burton and Kraz Nadamskis, I said that right? I'm glad you had a crack at it, not me. I think we're running a special K. I did write it down phonetically there. He's an exciting ruckman, so he came into the Eastern Rangers halfway through the year. He's 202 centimetres. and fitted in really well. His sort of basketball background, played a little bit of footy, played on the wing a bit as a junior, and a little bit forward. And
200 centimetre wing.
Yeah, sort of grew late. They had another tall kid in their side, so they'd flip and he'd play sort of different positions. So like his sprint time was really good. He's got some sort of value add stuff as a ruckman, his ground ball, his ability to join in and connect, and we just thought his improvement from game 1 through to the Eastern Grand Final was something we wanted to explore. So he's a good kid. We're looking forward to him sort of getting into it. And then Tommy Burton.
What, do you average 30?
Yeah, he did. And he's played the whole way through, Tom. Like, he played 16s. He played as a bottom major in the Metro side, and then he played as a top ager this year. He made the AFL Academy. The Western Jets, I think, only won 4 games for the year, so he played in a bit of a struggling side and really held his own, kept winning the ball, showcased his speed and run. So, yeah, we thought he deserved an opportunity to come out and show what he can do. I had a call from Johnny P, our property guy, yesterday at 6 a.m. saying that Tom Burton's here waiting for you, and I must admit I was still just getting out of bed. So he's
pretty keen.
He's a desperate worker. Yeah, he just wants to get to work, and he was there early, and he's gone up to the camp. So would have been a long day for him. He lives in Point Cook, so would have left at 5 a.m. yesterday and probably got up to bed at Yarrawonga at about 11. So. He'll give everything he can, and it's exciting to see those two boys play for that spot and see what comes out. So
you will use that spot, do you think?
That's the plan. Yeah, like flexibility there not to use it and take it into the mid-season, but I think with those two boys, there's some quality there. So we'll just see how they go over the pre-season.
Now, we will address it, Louis Kellaway, because it is a talking point, and he was talked about a lot during the year. And Richmond fans clearly get excited because, Duncan and Andy Kellaway were loved players at our club, but just decided not to go that way.
Yeah, we did. And it's a credit to Louis how hard he's worked over the period. Like, we brought him in first as a 16-year-old and went over to watch him at Sturt as a 16, 17, and then 18 this year. And I thought his carnival this year for SA in particular was really strong. Played in a really crucial role with Dyson Sharp, Sam Cumming, those guys in the midfield there. It's a brutal game, I think. And one thing that we just spoke about it off air, the media likes to talk about the father-son.
It's romantic, isn't it? Yeah.
It is. It puts a little bit of unwanted pressure on these kids. And you've seen it with Tom McGuan as well this year and some other ones. So he was a player that we considered really strongly. But ultimately, you've got to do what you think's best for your list. And the guys that we picked in the draft, but even Tom Burton, who's had a really quality 3 years, and big special K, we think can show something. We clearly need a young ruckman on our list if we can get one. So they're the tough decisions you've got to make. But a credit to Louis and the family. They took it really well. He's keen to get on with his footy, probably stay over in Adelaide and play at Sturt. So sometimes they're the tough decisions you've got to make when you're in these roles.
Yeah, and having played with Duncan and Andy, they're both a little bit late in developing as well. So you never know for Louis. Time will tell there.
Yeah, correct.
Get some SANFL footy in.
Yep.
Right, thanks for coming in. What's next for you now? Do you have a few weeks off? You got a holiday planned?
Yeah, I'll take this week off, and then it all starts up again. So the SA camp is on the 2nd, so head over for that. The AFL Academy are going to New Zealand on the 10th, so pop over to that for 5 days and spend some time with those kids, which is a good initiative. And then Vic Metro, Vic Country Camp, 16th, 17th, and then we take back half of December and all of Jan off, and then get back into it sort of middle of Feb, hopefully. So it was a big period. We really enjoyed it. We're pumped with the boys, and looking forward to next year.
Well done, mate. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.